This video is brought to you by Brilliant. Click the link in the description below. Ever since it was first discovered in 2004, graphene has been hailed as one of the most important breakthroughs in materials since the plastics revolution more than a century ago. 1,000,000 times thinner than a human hair, but 200 times stronger than steel. The early predictions were that graphene would almost immediately enable the kinds of products and technologies that we're used to seeing in sci-fi movies. Cut to more than a decade and a half later, and that still hasn't happened. Not even close. With opinions split between people overhyping graphene or calling it a massive disappointment, it's time that we got to the truth of what's really happening with this so-called wonder material. I'm Matt Ferrell. Welcome to Undecided. The hype around graphene is hardly surprising. A man-made substance with extraordinary properties. It's incredibly versatile and conductive, and is predicted to heavily disrupt industries ranging from consumer electronics to aerospace for a while now. But even though that progress hasn't been as fast as many would have hoped, researchers and product makers are now, at last, beginning to make some headway. Before we go on to what it can do, though, let's first take a look at what graphene actually is. To put it simply, it's fundamentally a single layer of graphite, the material used to make a pencil. But instead of having a three-dimensional crystalline structure like graphite, graphene is two-dimensional, meaning it's just one atom thick with the atoms arranged in a hexagonal lattice or honeycomb arrangement. It's a bit like chicken wire. This structure is important because it allows each carbon atom to be covalently bonded to 3 more around it, and the strength of these bonds is one of the main reasons why graphene is so strong and stable. Another reason is because the atoms delocalize electrons, meaning they can move around more freely, and this is what makes graphene so good at conducting electricity and heat. In fact, it's the most conductive material that we've ever come across. You're probably thinking that the process of discovering this amazing material must have been so crazy complicated that us mere mortals couldn't possibly comprehend how it was done. But it was actually almost laughably simple. It was first isolated, or extracted, from graphite by 2 researchers, André Game and Kostya Novoselov at the University of Manchester in the UK back in 2004. How did they do it? By using sticky tape on a piece of graphite and peeling it off, folding it, and then repeating the process over and over again until they ended up with a single layer of graphene. Yep, it really is easy as that. Although graphene was known to exist as far back as the 1940s, the discovery was widely celebrated by the scientific community. Game and Novoselov were awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics in 2010. And it immediately generated huge levels of excitement about the material's possibilities and potential uses in what many people hoped wouldn't be the not-too-distant future. Expectations ranged from using it to replace silicon transistors in electronics in the short term, all the way to building an immense cable or tether that could be used for a space elevator made out of graphene in the future. Although, I think we can all safely say that idea is still a little ways off for the time being. So what exactly is holding it back? Why is the market not flooded with graphene-based products that we've known how to make for years? When graphene was first isolated, it was done in very tiny amounts, and one of the main issues since then has been how to scale up production of the material while ensuring the quality of graphene that you end up with is good enough for the applications that it's intended for. When the process of mass producing the material is, at least for now, very complex and expensive, graphene products need to be significantly better than what's already out there for them to be considered worthwhile. If they're not as good as the material that they're trying to replace, or there's very little noticeable difference, then why even bother? For example, silicon is an excellent material for use in electronics because of its special semiconducting qualities, and many experts don't see it as having many weaknesses. So if graphene is going to knock it off its perch with the added cost and hassle needed to make it, then it'll need to be a true game changer once the production methods have matured enough. This was the problem with the first products that came out, which included graphene in some form. Many of the early entrepreneurs that were first to bring things to market ended up disappointing their customers and investors with products that did technically incorporate graphene, but didn't sufficiently outperform what was already out there, despite costing considerably more. It was too soon. Not enough follow-up research had been done at that stage, and it actually put a lot of people off of graphene as a marketable material for quite a while. Fortunately, researchers have been testing a range of new approaches to mass producing graphene in recent years, and the results we're starting to see are very promising, which is just as well. Otherwise, we'd be needing a lot of sticky tape to build that space elevator. Now, one of the most popular and well-tested methods is a process called chemical vapor deposition, or CVD, where graphene is effectively grown on a metallic surface, like copper, by combining carbon-bearing gases inside a high-temperature reaction chamber. This leads to the graphene being deposited onto the metal, which then can be separated and transferred onto a substance that needs enhancing. But doing it this way requires large amounts of energy, only yields a small amount, and relies on use of harsh chemicals that can create toxic byproducts, which is why others have gone to search for cleaner, cheaper, and less power-hungry ways to make graphene. One new approach that has caught the eye of experts in the field is called flash graphene, which has been described as a way to turn trash into treasure. This involves taking virtually any material with high carbon content, such as used rubber tires and even some mixed plastics, and converting it into graphene in an instant. The material is heated to 3000 kelvins, which is approximately 5000 degrees Fahrenheit, in just 10 milliseconds. This causes all of the carbon-to-carbon bonds to break and reconstruct as turbostratic graphene, which has misaligned layers that are easier to separate. Its creators, a team at Rice University in Houston, hope to produce a kilogram of graphene a day within 2 years. Others have been experimenting with new and emerging technologies such as 3D printing to see whether they could be used for graphene production. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology successfully printed a number of 3D objects from graphene and compared the results with conventional materials. Some of the pieces came out 10 times stronger than steel at 1/20th the mass. Scientists have also experimented with dispersing graphene in water, which would allow it to be sprayed onto a surface as a coating. A team at Umeå University in Sweden has created a thin film of highly conductive material from a dispersed graphene solution. They're hopeful that this will be able to be used to create electrodes for supercapacitors, which are advanced storage solutions that can charge much quicker and degrade less than batteries, but can't yet hold as much energy. While the plentiful supply of this wonder material remains a work in progress, we're now finally starting to see the release of graphene-based products that do seem to offer significant, tangible benefits over what the competitors have been making for years with industry-standard materials. A company called Real Graphene has created a graphene-enhanced lithium battery that's thought to be on the verge of commercial use. It can cut phone charging time from 1.5 hours to 20 minutes, lasts 3 to 5 times longer than conventional lithium batteries, and generates less heat. This was achieved by mixing graphene with the lithium and introducing a composite layer of graphene. Touchscreens made with graphene are thought to be on the horizon as well. They can be printed on thin plastic rather than glass, which would make them light, flexible, shatterproof, and therefore ideal for smartphones. Graphene's high strength and heat conductive properties make it an excellent material for a variety of protective equipment too. Italian motorcycle helmet manufacturer Momo Design now offers a wide range of helmets with graphene-coated exterior shells. According to the company, the presence of graphene improves the distribution of any impact force and dissipates heat faster than conventional materials, increasing the protection from thermal degradation. Another Italian company, Italcementi, has proposed graphene-infused cement, which could lead to houses that don't require wiring as the building material is already highly conductive on its own. Graphene's thermal properties allow for walls that easily dissipate heat, potentially eliminating the need for air conditioning units in hot countries. With demand for fresh water around the world also on the rise, graphene may have the answer to this challenge too. Physicists in China and the US have invented a graphene-based desalination membrane that can remove salt from seawater. It's a combination of a single sheet of graphene and a carbon nanotube mesh, which creates a centimeter-sized membrane. Desalination can already be done with evaporation, but this uses a lot of energy. Reverse osmosis is another method, but better membranes have been needed for years. It could even kill bacteria and help save lives. Researchers at Chalmers University of Technology in Sweden have shown how attaching vertical graphene flakes to the surface of medical implants protects them from bacterial infections. This could eliminate the need for antibiotics and lowers the chance of implant rejection, which is surprisingly common. In fact, healthcare is now one of the leading sectors for graphene applications. Its ultra-thin thickness is ideal for flexible circuits, a potential new way for monitoring people for health purposes, or possibly harnessing energy from the wearer themselves. They could be worn on the skin in the form of a smart patch, integrated in contact lenses, or at the extreme end, used to create tiny sensors that travel in the bloodstream. Although experts and the media have been saying this for more than a decade, it does feel as though we're on the cusp of a long-awaited graphene era. Research has come a long way in recent years. Mass production now looks feasible. We're seeing products launched that demonstrate the material's power, and the list of realistic applications appears to be growing by the day. The thing I think a lot of people lose sight of is that there's a pretty wide gap going from lab to mass-produced product. It will take time for some of the more ambitious proposals that we've covered here to see the light of day, if they ever do. But there are still lots of reasons to be excited about the future of this incredible material. And the key to making advancements like this is having a strong understanding of scientific principles and thinking. So if you're like me and you enjoy puzzling through how all of this comes together and why, today's sponsor, Brilliant, can help you do just that. I've taken the Scientific Thinking and Science Essential courses, which break down how to intuitively understand the scientific method, energy, and the states of matter. And it's not just foundational science. Brilliant has over 60 courses including topics in mathematics, science, and computer science. So whether you're a professional looking to keep up with the latest topics and learn new skills, or someone who just enjoys learning and trying to understand how the world works, Brilliant is for you. And what makes Brilliant so great is that it breaks down the complex concepts into digestible, bite-sized chunks. Learn through doing with fun and interactive puzzles. It's not about memorizing formulas, it's about understanding the concepts and applying them. To learn more, go to brilliant.org/undecided, where you can sign up for free, and also the first 200 people will also get 20% off their annual premium membership. Thanks to Brilliant and to all of you for supporting the channel. Now, if you're a member of my Patreon, I've got a little extra graphene video for you there, so be sure to check that out. And if you like this video, be sure to check out my video on the truth about solid-state batteries. There's been a lot of hype around that for years too, but where do things stand today? Now jump into the comments and let me know what you think about graphene, and if you've bought any products with graphene in it, I'd be curious to hear about that. Be sure to subscribe if you think I've earned it, and as always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.